Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. Today I've got a great tackle tinkering tip for you. This is honestly a new technique that I've been playing around with for probably 6 months, and I was trying to develop a product for core tackle that would work. And in playing around with it, really what I've found is that it already exists, and I don't know that I necessarily need to do anything with respect to core tackle. So I'm decided to release this to the general public and share it with you because I think this is something you really should give a try. It's been catching me a ton of fish. I had a great fall playing around with it for smallmouth. I caught a bunch of largemouth on it during the summer months up here in the North Country. Now, I have not used it down south, but I have no reasons to think that it will not excel down south either. So let's just dive right into this. Before I do, though, I want to remind you, I do have a members only channel as well. So if you're looking for more content like this, we do additional monthly videos. We do a members only live stream. You have direct access to me. Check out my members only page. You can go to my YouTube homepage, click the join button, find out everything you need to find out about that. Also, if you want to support the channel in another way, you can use my Tackle Warehouse affiliate link to make your tackle purchases. The little bit that I make from that goes right back into making content for you guys. I'll put the link for Tackle Warehouse in my video description. You can bookmark that as well for future purchases. All right, so let's talk about how I came up with this idea. So I like wobble heads quite a bit. I really enjoy fishing them. I think they're very good techniques. A wobble head is basically a football head weight with a hook that's mounted onto a rear eyelet, as you can see right there. This is actually a Picasso one with a tungsten head. This one I've beaten up really well. The hook on it is very dull at this point. Just caught me a bunch of fish. You can see it's all banged up. I've really dragged it around in the rocks. And what I've done in the past is I've cut the hooks off, and then I'll actually mount additional split rings to give myself just a little bit of room. And I started playing around with it. I'm like, well, if I'm adding split rings, why not add soft split rings? So if you guys aren't familiar with a soft split ring, that's actually where people are taking braided line like this, and they're tying a split ring to replace the metal split ring that is on, a lot of your different crankbaits. I got all these different baits hanging all over the place. So instead of having your metal split ring, they'll actually remove that, and then you can tie a braided line split ring, which allows the hooks to rotate a lot more. If you've got a metal split ring in there, you can only twist it so far before it stops. You get about a half turn out of it. If you tie a soft split ring, you can twist it multiple times before you actually start to tighten up on that line, which then gives the fish leverage. So with a soft split ring, the fish, if they come up and jump, they don't have the ability to throw the hook nearly as well. So when I started going through some of these wobble heads that I was using up, I'd cut the hook off and I started tying a new hook on to the, in this case, tungsten weight with a soft split ring. That works great, but that's not even the tip today. So the first tip, I guess, is if you do like throwing your wobble heads, try replacing the hook with a soft split ring. It'll give you a lot more motion and rotation with that hook. So it'll take a lot of the leverage out of the bait when the fish comes up and jumps. You lose a lot less fish. So that's tip number one. The second tip, though, and this is what I've had so much success with, is not to just use a soft split ring, but it's actually to add a little bit of braided line. So in this case, I've added, this is about a 4-inch leader. And then, so I'll tie that so that if my main line comes on here, instead of putting a soft split ring or split ring to attach another hook, I'm actually using a really small little leader. And then I'm using, what I prefer is a bait that actually is very buoyant. So in this case, this is a Z-Man scented jerk shad. So these are very, very buoyant. They have high flotation in it. And I do that because when I'm dragging this bait, my bait will actually want to glide on the bottom. So if I wanted to throw a Carolina rig, I could throw a Carolina rig, but in my opinion, there's a lot of advantages over this. The first is I've actually got a stationed weight, and it's a football head design. So from that standpoint, it gives me much better feel on the bottom. and my weight is not sliding freely on the line. So in this case, I generally not only have better feel of the bottom, I also have better feel of when that fish comes and grabs my bait. With a Carolina rig, a lot of times what happens is, because you've got 4 or 5, 2, 3, 4, 5 feet of line out, you don't feel the fish actually with the bait. You end up gut hooking a lot of fish. In this case, I feel most of the bites, or if not right away, because I pull it, there's not much line there, so you feel the fish pretty quickly. The whole key here, though, the reason I really wanted to create this was because I was looking for something up in my country that would mimic goby. So I really wanted something that was scooting along on the bottom. Talked about on the channel how one of the best baits you can throw on your wobble heads is actually a small boot tail swim bait. And that's because it makes it look like you've got a bait that's scooting around on the bottom. Well, in this case, I get a little bit more movement out of it. So just having that little bit of a leader, every time I pull it, this bait is just hovering on the bottom and it's sliding around. Really looks much more natural than just a boot tail that's on the scrounger head. I had amazing success with this. This was something where I really tried to tinker around to see if there was some way to build a contraption that maybe had a leader or a pre-rigged hook and line on it. Ultimately, what I came to is it is nothing more than just taking my wobble head weight and tying a short leader and tying a hook onto it. You can use any baits that you want. You can throw your cross style baits, your creature style baits. For me, the best success I've had are some of your more buoyant baits, especially that mimic your minnows, and that scented jerk shads has been really good for me. But I have caught them really good on flukes. I've caught them really good on a Berkeley Max Scent General. I just like a bait that kind of scoots a little bit more, but I really do think you should give this a try. Great bait year round. Great bait for fishing the bottom. Great bait for generating strikes from fish that are feeding on shad that are either dying off. With the cold weather and cold water that we've got now, there's probably major shad die-offs happening all over the country. So you could apply it now in the summer months when you've got fish that are feeding on sculpins or your gobies. It's just a great presentation. So give that a try. It's I'll call it a version of a Carolina rig, but it's, in my opinion, actually closer to a extended wobble head. But give that a try, guys. It's been very, very successful for me, and something that I think you guys might enjoy as well. So check that out. Otherwise, if you enjoyed today's video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Stay tuned. We'll have a new video coming out tomorrow.